Hello, everybody. I'm super excited to come to you tonight because I had an interesting experience. A friend who's also a customer of mine asked me to hold a party for her. Now, I was going to train on this anyway, but it gave me a whole different perspective. So she said to me literally about 3 weeks ago, I only need to hold one party in July. Will you hold it for me? And I said, sure, as much as my brain was going, say no. But I'm just imagining me being on the other end of asking, right? And so I said, of course, I'll do that for you. And she said, it doesn't have to be a really big party. If you can just have at least four people there, that would be great. There's no purchase required. It doesn't have to be a big party. I just have to show my company. And I'm not going to tell you who she's with. It doesn't really matter. It is a direct selling company. Obviously not skincare and makeup related. But anyway, the point of it is um, so she sent me the portal to her company that has all these hostess suggestions. She sent it to the wrong email. Okay. I was waiting and waiting and waiting. 3 days go by. I finally text her and says, I still haven't gotten anything. She goes, oh, I sent it to you 3 days ago. Okay. Note to self. If you're going to start taking notes, this would be number one is as soon as you send a hostess something, I don't care if it's by email or text, confirm that she got it. I sent her my email again by text and she said, oh, I guess I sent it to the wrong email. So then she sent it to me. And while she was on the phone with me, it wouldn't let me log in. It said, make up a password. It says a password's already been made up for you. So she called her corporate the next morning. They said, oh, just use your consultant's first name as your password. Okay. So I did that finally, like on day 5. Now we're like a week out from the party. I get into the thing and I couldn't get a sample text to send. I couldn't get anything. So I honestly, I wanted to cancel. I honestly wanted just to say, I just can't do it now. I'm going to have surgery, or I just have a lot going on right now. So I thought, okay, I don't want to bail on her because she's counting on me. Okay, so first of all, does your hostess know you're counting on her, whether it be for a contest or for something? Make sure she knows that what she's doing for you is important. Second thing is make her the invitation. Had this woman given me a Canva or a pic collage or a something, apparently her company makes them, but I could never access it. So if I were her, I would make one on Canva that has her corporate logo on it, that has some pictures of their product line, and I would have had her send that to me. Okay, so number one is make your hostess an invitation. Well, number one, confirm that she got the information. Number two, make her the invitation. Number three, super important, give her a sample text to send with it. I had to make up my own. I went on to YouTube and I typed in the name of her company and put summer 2025 launch and I found a 1.5 minute teaser video. I took that and I showed it to her. I said, can I use it? She goes, oh, that's great. Where'd you get that? I said, I found it on YouTube. She goes, oh, that'd be perfect. So I added it to the invitation that I wrote, right? Okay, so this is just teaching me a lot of great lessons. So as people are texting me back saying they can come or they can't come, I'm texting her and letting her know the update. But the whole point of it is that you want to make this easy for your hostess. If it's a lot of work, and that's one of the reasons why you remember in the training we did last week when Karen Rydell says, don't call it a party. Because people think for the party, they've got to get it catered, they've got to have their house clean, they've got to have their act together, a big group of people. And I always say to them, I always say, you know what, I can't wait to come do a spa session with you. Now, it's interesting because they did a study recently that asked women if they were going to get their hair cut and they were short on time or they were going to get pampered with a massage, which would they cancel? 100% of them chose pampering with a massage. They would cancel versus they would not cancel their haircut. And part of that's probably because you got to look cute, right? So I thought about that. So I'm getting away from using the word pampering and calling it a spa session because it's a spa treatment. Who doesn't, whether if they do charcoal, microderm, whatever they do, a spa session to me just sounds a little bit more official. So that's what I'm using. So let's go back and address a few things. So let's first talk about when you book it, what do you say to book her and then turn it into a party? I mean, some people will literally say, hey, do you do parties? How much are they? I've literally had people ask me this. Do you do parties? How much are they? And I go, they're free. And yes, I do them. So, and those women are great, but let's be real. That's not everybody, right? Most of these women, you're going to be asking and you're going to be pursuing them. So what can you say? So I think it depends on the dynamics. I'm going to give you two different scenarios. Scenario one is somebody you know, like Karen, the woman that I lost touch with. We haven't seen each other in like 2.5 years. We ran into each other at a chamber event. She had me over for coffee. She was wearing a foundation from Nordstrom that was not even close to what is her shade. And she said, I'm out of foundation. I was just about to go back to Nordstrom, but I'm not 100% happy with this color. And I said, do you mind if we just clean your skin with micellar water? Because I didn't have my whole kit. And so I was just going over for coffee or a glass of wine or whatever. And so I can actually match you because I brought all my foundation samples. And she goes, no, not at all. Well, once she washed her face, she's a lot lighter than I thought she was. So I got out all my foundations and I started with something darker like beige 210 or something. And then I went to 200 and then I went different undertones, tried different things, and finally found the one that matched her skin perfectly. And it was beige 150. So what I did is I put a stripe of her foundation from Nordstrom's here and another stripe of what I matched her. And I said, so these are our choices. And she pointed, not knowing what was what, and she pointed to the one from Nordstrom and she said, that looks really orange. And I said, well, that's the one you're wearing. And she goes, are you serious? She goes, well, I knew I wasn't super happy with that color. And she goes, well, what do you have on my cheek right now? I said, this one. And it matched her earlobe, all the skin right here perfectly. And she goes, I'm really, really happy with that color. So that was my first connection with her in 2.5 years. So then I said to her, Karen, I said, I am doing for the new year 30 faces in 30 days, which means I need to practice on 30 new faces, let them try a correct foundation or one of our two spa treatments. Would you? And I said, I'd love to practice on you. Would that be okay? And she goes, yeah, that sounds totally like fun. When do you want to do it? And I said, how about if we do it next week, which is this week? She said, great. So now I've got her excited. She wants to come. I said, would you rather do a spa session, meaning a spa treatment, or would you rather do skincare and makeup? She says, honestly, I'd rather do skincare and makeup because I'm out of a lot of makeup and I'm going to buy it. And based on the fact that that foundation wasn't even a close match, I'd rather buy it from you if you're going to help me. I said, of course. So I've got somebody who's interested. That's step number one. Okay. Now I want to get her to invite friends. And I said, well, if you're going to want to get a bunch of product, or you may not know that for your gal. So you might say, well, if you share it with at least you plus two, because that kind of sounds cute. I said, if you do you plus two, then I'm allowed to give you a half off shopping spree. Does that interest you? So that's all the detail I give them. I don't tell them what they have to do. I want them chasing me. So I said to Karen, I said, well, if you have, I can give you a half off shopping spree. Or I said, the company allows me to count you as a hostess if it's you plus two. And then you get a half off shopping spree. Does that sound like fun? She goes, well, yeah, what do I have to do? I said, all you've got to do is have at least two people here. But I said, if you have four people here, so a total of five or more, I said, you get a lot more. And she goes, oh, that's not a problem. I can do that. I said, okay. So then it would be you plus four. So you would get $150 shopping spree at half price plus. If your friends decide to purchase, which they're not required to, but if they do purchase, you're also going to get 10% of all the party sales in free stuff. So I said, so I'm literally planting a seed in your head. I said, so if the party's a $500 party, you're going to get 50 free plus another 150 at half price. I said, so that's $200 for the product. She goes, well, that would probably fill most of my makeup, what I need. And I said, great. And so she said the typical, well, let me check in with my friends. And then how about if I give you a call in a couple days? Okay, which is, I'm going to say is really, really common to hear. And so I said to her, I said, well, you can do that. I said, my concern is though, is if you call me and say, okay, I talked to my 5 friends, they all want to come a week from Saturday. I'm booked a week from Saturday, or I'm at seminar, I'm out of town. And I said, so could we do this instead? Why don't we pick a date that you love and I'll check my date book. If I'm available, I'm going to make you an invitation. You're going to take that invitation. Now, this gets to be the part where you get them to invite more people, right? I said, Karen, I'm going to make you that invitation. And then I'm going to suggest you send it to 3 times the number of people you want. So if you want 4 there, I'd send it to 12. I said, getting women together is like herding cats. And she started to laugh. She says, yeah, I know. And I said, well, they may not be able to make it. And keep in mind, this is a tentative date. So what date's going to work for you? And she said, well, middle of the week is less crazy for my friends. Weekends are nuts because everyone's got kids in sports because their son's in high school. And I said, okay. I said, how about a week from Wednesday? And she goes, that would be great. I said, okay, perfect. So I made her a little Canva invite that had a week from Wednesday date on it, the time on it. Key thing is I gave her a sample text. Now, sample texts are really, really important. I can copy and paste one in here, but let me just share with you really quick, maybe one of the ones that I sent out. So it always lets them know that they're having a spa session and that, oh my gosh, my phone is blown up. So let me just go in here to notes really quick and let me find, so if it's from a booth event, okay, or you did a drawing at a festival of some sort or bridal fair. Then this one says, hey, I'm super excited that I won a beauty spa experience for myself and my friends. I really love for you to come and get pampered with me next Tuesday at 8 o'clock. And this has got a million emojis all over it. Part of my spa experience includes anti-aging skincare, a microderm treatment, because I let the hostess choose. Usually I always do charcoal mask if it's their first, but I do often let them choose. A microderm treatment and a hydrating gel mask. Plus we get to hang out for some fun girl time. You can text my Mary Kay consultant, Diane, at this number with your RSVP and your skin type, ASAP. She will get your customized samples together and make you a goodie bag. Can you make it? And then there's a heart and then the host, the woman's name. Okay, so that's a great way if you did a drawing and she actually won something. All right. Another option would be is if it is something like just a spa pampering. Now, what if you wanted to have, so this is another one that says, hey, I'm super excited that I'm having a beauty spa experience for myself and my friends. You're one of my favorites, so I hope you can join me. Now, again, do you have any idea what the hostess is going to say if she makes up her own? You have no idea. You don't probably even want to know. She'll say things like, hey, I'm having margaritas and this gal's going to come over and do makeup and we can just kind of hang out and bring your kids and it's going to be super fun. Do you want to come? Like, doesn't even say what it is. There's no pre-profiling. And then back in the day when I say to the hostess, well, who's coming? I need to get their numbers so I can text them. Nobody gives you their phone number. They'll say, well, I don't know if my girlfriends will let me give out their numbers. And so that's the other issue. Scripts are available on Facebook and boards. Yes, all of my scripts. And I know a lot of you that are not in my unit, you keep asking me for my boards links. The problem is that some of my boards is from other like $1 million directors and they ask me not to post stuff. So I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to do that, but I'm happy to post actual scripts. That's not an issue at all. So what I'm saying to you though, is that do not ask the hostess. I said, well, I'm going to send you a sample invite because most hostesses do blah, blah, blah. Whatever you say most hostesses do, she will do. So had this gal in this other company said to me, her name is Melody, had she said to me, oh, well, Diane, most of my hostesses send this and here's a little video clip you can attach. I'd say, oh my gosh, thank you. That's great. Because it makes, all I'm going to do is copy, paste, copy, paste. Instead, I had to write my own, go find my own video, send it out. And within an hour, I had 3 people that said yes and 3 people that said they couldn't make it. But the whole point of it is that you want to, by you including in here, you can text my Mary Kay consultant, Diane, at this number with your RSVP and your skin type. She'll make sure you get all the samples for our pampering. And then this is going to be a virtual one. So then it says the samples need to get mailed ASAP. So let me know if you can make it. And then there's a heart with her name. Now that would be if it was virtual. Okay. So you just put a slight little tweak, but you get the gist of it, right? So you're going to send that out with that date. So if she says to you, so I just talked to one of my consultants the other day, we did a big booth event together. And I said, how are you doing with your leads? She says, well, literally on a stack of Bibles, she said, I'm waiting for all 4 of the winners that want to book a fate, would want to book a party. I'm waiting for them to get back with me. I said, waiting for them to get back to you for what? Well, they were going to check with their friends for a date. And I said politely to the gal, I said, you probably won't hear from her. It's probably going to be you calling her again. And then what if they pick, because she's got a full-time job, kids, all that. And I said, so what if she picks a date you're not available? She goes, well, I didn't really think of that, blah, blah, blah. So I walked her through these steps. All right. So let's touch on one other topic. Number one fear of a hostess is what? No one's coming to my party. So I designed this form, and this form is great because it has on the front of it a place, and I can list, this is on boards. Here's the hostess. I don't want to show you because of privacy, but it's got the hostess's name, and then there's room for up to 8 guests. Now notice down here in the bottom corner, it says pic collage, although I use Canva. It says invitation created. Was it sent to the hostess? And then I put right here script. So I created the invitation. I created the script and I send them all to her. So those little check marks, if there's no check marks down there, that means I never sent it to her. And I'm just doing that because, hey, as we get older, when you have 8 or 10 parties on your books, I don't know about you all, but how do you keep track of who you've sent stuff to? I can't. I use a piece of paper. So that's what this is for. Then what happens is when Carolyn, I sent it to her, okay, and her party was like a couple days later. So her party was a week out, I think, and it was in person. So I didn't have to mail samples. And so after 48 hours, this is super important. That's why post-it notes are key. I texted her and I said, "Hey, I haven't gotten in any responses for your party yet. Do you have people coming for next week?" And she goes, "Oh yeah." She goes, "I forgot." She goes, "They're supposed to text you." She goes, "Let me send out your message again." Within an hour, within an hour of that call, three people texted me, "Hey, I'm coming to Carolyn's. My skin is oily." And I literally texted the girl back and I said, "Hi, oily skin. What's your name?" And she sent back a bunch of laughing emojis. She goes, "Oh, hi. Sorry, my name's Monica." I said, "Hey, Monica, how are you?" And she said, "Great." I said, "I have some questions to ask you about your skin. Can I give you a quick call?" I don't do this by texting because I'll tell you why. They can't hear my sincerity. I don't want to do this back and forth and back and forth and back and forth for an hour. I'd rather just get her on the phone. So here are some key questions to ask. I said, "Monica, I'm super excited that you're coming to Carolyn's. Number one question, tell me a little bit about your skin. Does it tend to be more dry to normal or more oily?" And if she said, "Well, it's dry to oily," which they say that sometimes, I always clarify by saying, "If you wash your face early in the morning, how shiny are you by noon?" So she answers that question. Then I say, "Tell me what your nighttime routine is like. What do you do to your face before you go to bed?" Now that tells me a lot about them. Like the gal that I just did last night, she said Dove soap and that's it. I said no moisturizer. She goes, "Oh, well, I do put hand cream on my hands when I get out of the shower and I just kind of smear that on my face." I said, "Okay, so your nighttime routine is Dove soap and hand lotion or whatever." And she goes, "Yeah." I said, "Okay, so you're a minimalist, right?" And she started to laugh and she goes, "Is that what you call that?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "You don't want to do a lot. I get it." I said, "So I'm assuming anti-aging isn't important to you." And she paused and she goes, "Well, no, it is. I just have never had a system." So I'm taking notes. I'm writing, doesn't have a system, Dove soap, hand cream. Are you getting this? Now, I said to her, I said, "Well, let me ask you a question. Monica, if you could change one thing about your skin, what would you want to change?" You know what she said? Dryness and fine lines. I wanted to hit myself on the wall with my head. I said, "Okay." I said, "So are you as excited to come as I am excited to meet you?" And she said, "I think so." And I said, "Well, we're going to have a lot of fun." And I said, "I'm going to make you a custom goodie bag. I'm going to stick one or two samples in there that no one else is getting. So just kind of keep it on the down low. When I meet with you individually at the end of the pampering, I'll kind of walk you through your samples, okay? Because we'll have like 2 or 3 minutes, just you and I to talk. Again, what am I setting her up for? The individual consultation. All right. Most important thing I'm going to end with is this. When I got off the phone with the call with phone, when I got off the phone with Monica, the gal who's coming, who's my very next text to? Carolyn, the hostess. And guess what I said? "Oh my gosh, I just got off the phone with Monica. She sounds so excited. I can't wait to see you all next week. Is there anyone else coming?" And she goes, "Yeah, my mom and my mother-in-law didn't call you yet." She texts you. She goes, "I'll text them right now and remind them." Sure enough, within 5 or 10 minutes, I got two more texts. So your hostess is really your business partner. Mary Kay herself used to say to us, "A party worth booking, a party worth booking is a party worth coaching." It breaks my heart when I hear consultants say, "Oh yeah, I've got 5 parties booked next week." And I'd say, "Great. How many are coming?" "Well, I don't know yet. I'll figure that out." Or they say, "Oh, there's 5 people coming." I said, "Great. Young skin, old skin." "Oh, I don't know. Just all her family's coming." Okay, gang, you don't want to have one person there going, "Oh, I want to try clear proof," and you didn't bring any samples. Or you want to have 3 people there using repair and two. I mean, you want to be prepared. So what I will tell you, by the time I was done talking with Monica, and by the time I was done talking with Betty, and I was done talking with um, what is the gal's name? Micah. When I was done talking to those three, they were all like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I can't wait for next week." Do you think they're gonna no show? That would be no. They're going to come. They want their custom goodie bag because I told each of them, because one of them has old scarring from acne. And I said, "I'm going to make sure you get a microderm sample because we're doing charcoal." I said, "It is going to be your new best friend. You are going to flip out when you feel your skin and how it can make your skin so smooth so quickly." I said, "And that sample I'll explain to you when I get there. Okay." But no one else is getting that. She's like, "Okay." They're like, and I said, "Oh, I also said, would you like me to send you a digital catalog so you can be looking through it?" And she goes, "Yes, please." So then I just put um, C with a circle, meaning I sent her a catalog. And then you just go to interactive catalog right off your personal website and send it to them. These are all things, you guys, that'll make all the difference in the world. So by the time I go to their house, I have talked to every single person. Is it always 100%? No. The party I just did in Sacramento, one of the gals, she just says, "I'm really busy." She goes, "I'm an ER nurse. I can't really talk. What do you need to know?" "Tell me about your skin." "It's dry." "Okay. What's your nighttime routine?" "I wash it and then put on," I mean, like, she was like, get off the, she would hardly text me back. So I just figured, you know what? I said, well, I can't wait to meet you. It sounds like you work really crazy hours. I know the downtime's going to be fabulous. And she had a blast and she was super sweet when I met her. So, one other quick tip, if it is a virtual party, well, even if it's not, so if the party is on Friday, I'm going to send them out a reminder on Monday. Then I'm going to send them, and that'll say, did you get your samples yet? Because some of their samples haven't arrived if it's virtual. By Wednesday, it's like, can't wait to see you on Friday, blah, 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 blah. Friday morning, it's like, I can't wait to see you tonight, yada, yada, yada. Okay. That's really, really important because have you guys never gotten a reminder or realized, oh my God, I'm supposed to be at so and so's house in an hour? So, based on the experience of the party I just booked, where I got no invitation, no sample script, no video to send, absolutely nothing other than she kept saying, it doesn't have to be a big party. I just need one party this month to meet my goal. So I'm just going to tell you guys, you want customers for life and consider this. Every customer is a potential team member. How you treat her, how you book her is going to be exactly what she turns around and she will do. So if you want a strong team member, you want her to be a strong representative at a skincare class, and that's what's going to work. Okay. I hope you guys get something out of this. Have a great day.